I'm Rodney Williams.
And I'm Travis Holloway. Welcome to the Wealth Break Podcast, a real conversation about finance.
Let's be honest. Building wealth doesn't look the same for everyone.
I feel like sometimes being broke is a cycle and that we might have to revisit that.
And we're not stopping at success stories.
What happens when it doesn't go right? How do you cope with it?
Because wealth isn't just about money. It's about creating a life where you thrive and help others do the same.
Listen to the Wealth Break Podcast on the iHeartRadio app.
I'm Christiana Manpour, and I've been on the front lines and interviewing world leaders for more than 30 years.
And I'm Jamie Rubin, a former advisor to both Presidents Clinton and Biden.
We were married for 20 years.
And divorced for 7.
Now we've joined forces on The X-Files to make sense of how we ended up with no world order. Listen to Christiana Manpour Presents The X-Files on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
World of Secrets, The Killing Call, a BBC World Service investigation into the murder of Punjabi singer and rapper Sidhu Moosewala.
The facts, they aren't out in the open.
Why Sidhu Moosewala, you know?
Uncovering a global criminal underworld that reaches far beyond India's borders.
There are so many rumors.
No one wants to talk.
There might be repercussions.
World of Secrets, The Killing Call. Listen on the BBC app or wherever you get your podcasts.
It's over. KFI, AM 640 is later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app. We're even live on Instagram for the annual Chateau soiree. Let's hear it. The coolest 3 hours in all talk radio. Happy birthday, America. Happy Independence Day. To Wallace Sharp, my man with the plan. Tell me more about this day. It's been a beautiful day.
Absolutely beautiful. 5th year in a row. You have outdone yourself again. The place is jam-packed. You probably should have sold tickets because this is the place to be. Every year, more and more people are flocking to Chateau Les Mots. This is the 4th of July event.
Half of these people I don't even know. We have Jackie Ray, who will be joining us today. You know her from Beyond the Box Score. We have Claudine Cooper, the nice exercise lady who's in the house with us tonight. Yeah. We have Tiffany Hobbs of the Viral Load who'll be joining us tonight. We have all the cast of characters, and even Stefan. Where does Stu Fuchs go? Stefan! Stefan wouldn't step on the mic, but he has a plate of food right now. So. But this is the beautiful thing, and I say this every year, and I mean it every year. We have this meeting of ages from 4 to 84, and you see the commonality of experiences. It doesn't matter that we may not all be biologically related. We all have this friendship and familial bond, which brings us together. And I always remember when I was 6 or 7 years old, running the street, we had the neighborhood like parade, and I'd have the American flag, and I was on my bicycle, and people are nodding their heads because they know what that's like. And it's one of those moments, despite what's going on in the world. We all know what's going on in the world. But today is about friends and family and celebrating the birth of this nation. And I just want to thank all of you for coming out. I want to thank all of you for listening. I want to thank all of you who are watching right now on the Instagram Live. And this is just a little bit. I hope you got to see the dessert competition, which we did around 6 p.m. I host this every year, and I never get to taste any of the desserts.
Are you kidding?
I'm not kidding.
You didn't get to taste any of the entries this year?
Not a one.
Oh, you missed out. I'm almost drunk off of one of them. I don't know which of our
That was my sister's, because she put Jack Daniels in it.
No, but that was very light. It was. I think it's Mike. I think it's Big Mike Downs. I think he is trying to get me drunk because he knows I've had a drink in 30 years. That cake is rich. Oh, boy.
Yeah, I got to tell you, it was a great competition. We had some first-time competitors. We had Carnisha, who stepped up with no fear.
No fear.
No fear at all.
Broke down the ooey and the gooey.
And I think it has to do with her New Orleans roots. She ain't scared of nobody.
Yeah,
I didn't say scared. I said scared. There's a difference. Scared is from when you're down south.
Right.
Scared is when you're from LA. She ain't scared. It's just a difference, But even though, for example, Carnisha may be from New Orleans.
Yes, sir.
And you have Jackie Ray from Colorado. We're all from different places. We're all from different backgrounds. We're all different stories. But there's something about which brings us together where we may not be with our immediate family, or there's some of those who may be no longer with us. We may have lost recently. This is what family's about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
To all, you brought your daughter. And last time I saw her, she was 4'2". Now she's 6'10".
Yeah, look, kids, they do that. They grow. And it's crazy because it's like my son, he really wanted to go. He loves hanging out here. He loves hanging with your boys. He was looking forward to some firework activities, maybe even another failure firework explosion outside. Hopefully they'll get that going again. He was actually going to catch the bus here. He said, you know what? I'll catch the bus or I'll get Metro there. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? And he said, yeah, maybe I'll just get an Uber over. I'm like, yeah, do that. But Foosh is here, so I don't know who you rolling with. but he's like, he needs to be here. Everyone needs to be here. And if you're not here live with us in person, then join us right now on Instagram and make sure you are checking out this show, because this is where the party is.
I tell people, and if you haven't seen, like, we'll put up videos. I know Tuala will put up videos on his Instagram page. I'll put up videos on mine. I'll do an Instagram live. We will bring you the fireworks live at like maybe 9 o'clock or so. I'll literally be up in the park and then running down here and do the show. Up in the park and running down and do the show. But we get to give you a 360 panoramic view of all the fireworks shows, the illegal ones and the legal ones in the city. And it's a sight. It's kind of hard to explain or describe, but it's really, really cool. And this is my favorite day of the year. We don't have to do a live show. We could have done a best of. We do this because there's something special about this moment, these folks, this gathering, this place. And I'm speechless because this, Mark Ronner. Where are you, Mark Ronner? Get on the mic.
Okay, here we go. I knew it was going to start sooner or later.
We miss you, Mark.
There is nothing I would love more than to be there with you guys, eating Carnisha's dessert, drinking your alcohol.
Well, why aren't you here then?
Well, it's not easy being key personnel here, Mo. Somebody's got to do the news.
If Stephen could make it, you should have been here.
That sounded like booze. Was that booze?
It's booze as in like liquor. Booze.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, thank you. I just remember, I have feelings, okay?
There's a lot of food here, Mark.
A lot of food, Mark.
I could just walk out of here right now and drive over there.
No one's stopping you. Just do it. Leave.
Well, we could let Raul do the news. I'm sure he'd be fine.
I'm quite sure somebody from 24/7 News can handle it.
Yeah, sure.
They do it.
But it's good that if people didn't know, Stephen had said that he would come by basically on his Uber break, which he did with a bottle of Jack Daniels in his hand. I'm very appreciative of that as a housewarming gift. And he came. You saw all of the dessert competition or just some of it?
I caught the end of it.
Okay.
Yeah, he got the tail end.
Okay.
But
so
he got
to
taste everything.
You got to taste everything. That's what's most important. Yeah. But each year we get someone else from the crew to be able to hang out with us. It's a wonderful gathering. And I just want to say thank you to each one of you individually. And thank you to everyone collectively, because you may not know it. If you're in this house, you are family.
Oh, man.
Okay?
Always.
Yeah. And if you're like Mark, not in the house, you're not family.
Remember just a minute ago when I said I had feelings a minute ago?
Yes. We only talk mess about you because we love you.
Aww.
And you're supposed to be here. You're supposed to be with the rest of your family.
Well, now you're going to make me cry on the air. I hope you're happy.
Don't do that because you have to give the news in like 35 seconds.
Okay. All right, I'll regroup.
Okay, regroup. It's Later with Mo Kelly. It's the 5th annual live soiree from Chateau Mo. When we come back, we'll be joined on the mic by the nice exercise lady, Claudine Cooper, and more. KFI AM 640, we're live everywhere on Instagram and the iHeartRadio.
I'm Christiana Manpour, and I've been on the front lines and interviewing world leaders for more than 30 years.
And I'm Jamie Rubin, a former advisor to both Presidents Clinton and Biden.
We were married for 20 years.
And divorced for 7.
Now we've joined forces on The X-Files to make sense of how we ended up with no world order. Listen to Christiana Manpour Presents The X-Files on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
I'm Rodney Williams.
And I'm Travis Holloway. Welcome to The Wealth Break,
Let's be honest, building wealth doesn't look the same for everyone. It's not just about saving, it's about investing. It's about navigating systems that weren't built for you, embracing your hustle, and relying on your community to create something bigger.
And that's exactly why we created The Wealth Break. We made something different, something more human. It's not just another financial podcast. It's a conversation about real life, real struggles, and real wins.
We're here to talk about the journey. You're hearing from people who've broken barriers, found creative ways to succeed, and learned to build wealth on their terms. Whether it's the first-time homeowner, a gig worker, or someone turning a side hustle into a six-figure business, we're bringing you their stories.
And we're not stopping at success stories. We're breaking down the realities, like what it means to take risk, how to navigate failure, and why resilience matters. Because wealth isn't about money. It's about creating a life where you can thrive and help others to do the same.
So if you're ready for a podcast as much as about people as it is about money, you're in the right place.
Listen to the Wealth Break podcast on the iHeartRadio app.
World of Secrets, The Killing Call, a BBC World Service investigation into the murder of Punjabi singer and rapper Sidhu Moosewala.
The facts, they aren't out in the open.
Why Sidhu Moosewala, you know?
Uncovering a global criminal underworld that reaches far beyond India's borders.
There are so many rumors. No one wants to talk.
There might be repercussions.
World of Secrets, The Killing Call. Listen on the BBC app or wherever you get your podcasts.
Radio app.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
And we're still live on Instagram. Joining me in Chateau studio is none other than a nice exercise lady, Claudine Cooper. You usually hear her Wednesdays on Wellness Wednesdays. And I really recommend that you go ahead and tune in on Instagram right now because she's in rare form. You don't usually see her. She got the hoop earrings and the lipstick. She's like she's going somewhere.
I got 2 chains on. Hold on, let me pull this other one out.
Not one, but 2 chains.
You know, they call me 2 chains.
Claudine Cooper, it's always great to see you. Happy Independence Day. Thank you for coming out.
Oh, this is great, Mo. Thank you for having me.
No, we didn't have the opportunity to have you last year. You had some other things that you were doing, but I'm glad that you could stop by this year.
Every year I have something I do, the same exact thing. So when you invited me last year, I had no idea it was this huge production. I'm so glad that I made the move over here today.
It was a little bit extra this year. I'm just letting you know.
This is, okay, so it gets a little bigger every year? Is that
it's been that way. And you have people who say, can I come? And then they say, can I bring 4 people with me?
Why not? It's a party.
Well, it's a party, but then after a while, I'm trying to feed everyone. I'm trying to make sure there's enough libations for everyone. I'm trying to make sure there's space for everyone.
From what I saw, there were plenty of libations.
Oh, yes. And I haven't been able to start yet, but I promise you, around 10 o'clock, 10:01, I want to be knee deep.
Yeah. You're kind of working. That's the thing about throwing a party, right? It is fun to have friends and family over, but the pre-planning is work.
Yes. And the cleanup is something else.
Oh my gosh. I was just like asking, I was outside. I was like, hey, is there a trash can? They're like, oh, his wife is going around. I'm like, wow, it's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
But it's beautiful.
Well, I appreciate that.
And everybody here is cool too.
And this is the first time you've been in my home. And even though we may live a stone's throw from each other.
We do.
But you and I have talked about the growth of this particular area beyond just SoFi, beyond Intuit Dome, beyond the YouTube theater. There are all these other businesses and they're getting ready to build a hotel. And so just talk to me about this area and how it's grown over the past 3 to 4 years.
Wow, that's a great question, Mo. I know living in it, sometimes you don't see it. The way you look at someone and you don't see them age because you're with them all the time. You're with somebody and they gain weight. You don't really notice they gain weight because you see them every day.
What are you trying to say?
Not you, boo.
Okay.
Not you. Just saying. It's the same way with the progression of the neighborhood. Because of how slow progress is, it's hard for me to step outside of it and see it like, wow, a lot has happened. But if I think back 25 years when I first moved to Inglewood, and the fact that people told me not to.
Straight up. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I just think to myself 2 things. We've got to follow our own intuition, right?
Right.
My gut told me this is where I'm supposed to be. This is where I bought my first property. I've been here for 25 years. So for me, seeing the progress has been a slow process. There's things that I really, really wished we had in Inglewood when I first moved here, which would be like a big gym with lots of classes. And then Magic Johnson put one right in the middle of Ladera Heights, right?
Right.
And so at that time, I worked at that one. But that's Ladera Heights. Inglewood is Inglewood. And we still hadn't had that. And when they started building the gym Iconics in Inglewood and asked me if I'd be a part of it, I was beyond flabbergasted. My gasted was flabbers.
Your history and background is fascinating to me. And I talked to you on Independence Day. You didn't grow up in Los Angeles. So your history and memories aren't connected to the city in the same way. But when I talk to you about Independence Day, 4th of July celebrations, take me to Minnesota or even to Atlanta, the places that you stopped along the way. What are your memories?
Oh, well, there's hands down one specific memory because in our hometown, Minneapolis, Minnesota, there's one big place where everyone celebrates. And it's a park in the middle of the city and families of all sizes go. So it's tons of people in this huge park in the middle of the city. And then they have a fireworks show. There's little food and stuff and all around. So one year my dad was the chaperone for me and my girlfriend who were dressing alike with our Jordans on and our mini skirts. And my dad just simply followed us as we walked around the park. Now, at that age, with our mini skirts and our Jordans on, we were, we were being looked at.
About how old were you roughly?
Oh, I don't want to. We don't need a R. Kelly moment. Let's not do that. However,
young enough for fathers to be concerned.
Period.
Okay.
Every guy who looked at us, my dad would just simply stand in between them, in between the male and myself, and he'd be like. So I think about that a lot because I had a dad, and it shows up in a lot of different ways.
When I grow up and you talk about your dad, I think of my dad on days like these, and I miss him a lot. But he was always out there making sure that we were okay with the fireworks. Because back then we had fireworks that we were allowed to play with, and they were legal, but they were still dangerous. And he was ever present. He was making sure that we weren't going to do anything too stupid, but also make sure no one else around us was going to help us get into something stupid. And I think the word of the day is family. It's inextricably linked to everything that we do. And I love to see the kids that we have here. I love to see the elder generation. It's kind of weird because now I'm the one who's given the prayer to bless the food because, I'm the man of the house. And then you have my mother who's over here and she's like the matriarch and all the kids and grandkids are running to her feet and everything. And you just see this progression and circle of life. And I'm so very happy and thankful to have everyone here, but everyone has that 4th of July memory. That's the point. Everyone has that point where you remember it's like, yes, this is why I enjoy the holiday. We know the significance of it. That's one thing. We learn all that in school, but there's something special about it because it's always connected to family.
Always. And that's one thing I said today in Pilates class. I said, hey, you guys, I'm going to say happy 4th of July and I'm going to go celebrate the 4th of July, no matter what my feelings are about what's going on in this country at this moment.
Hello.
I think of it as a way for us to connect family, friends, loved ones, neighbors. And I think it's special to have those moments and necessary.
And if we don't have these moments, we lose those connections. We don't see each other as family. We don't see each other as friends or fellow Americans, as it were. We need more of these moments. And I'm glad that you and I are on one accord where we can come together despite whatever the world is going on, whatever is going on in the world, because it'll still be there tomorrow. I promise you, it will be there tomorrow. But right now, I'm going to say happy birthday, America. I'm going to say thank you to you, Claudine Cooper, for coming out today. And you are obviously part of the family now.
You're part of my family, too. I hope you know. All of you guys.
What people don't know is my wife went to her Pilates class.
That's right.
And Claudine tried to kill her.
She loves every minute of it. Don't let these people tell you that it's not fun.
And then after that, I went to the free community workout.
She went with you to
and
that.
Daniel and Carnisha went. And she tried to kill the rest of us.
Daniel said he's going to start telling people I'm not the nice exercise lady. Tell him, Daniel. Tell him what you said to me.
You come by it honestly.
Nice exercise lady.
When we come back, we'll be joined on the show by Stefan. You might know him as Stefouche. He is in between. He's actually on his break from Ubering. So we're going to talk to him and see what he thinks of the Chateau Le Mo and also this annual soiree. So keep it right here. It's Later with Mo Kelly. Happy birthday, America. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app and Instagram.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
The 5th annual soiree on the Independence Day, 4th of July. And my next guest is really not a guest. He's a friend. He's also a contributor. He's also the technical director of Later with Mo Kelly. Stefan, some people call him Stefouche.
Yes.
Some people wrongly call him Stefan, as I did for like the first year.
Yeah.
Stefan, it is great to have you here in my humble abode.
Yeah.
And you basically took off work to stop by here.
Oh, yeah.
And then you're going to do some work after this.
Absolutely, sir. Yeah.
What was your route before you got here?
So I was over in Redondo Beach.
Uh-huh.
And that's where I ended up. And I was like, I gotta make it over for Chateau Le Mo. So I cut it off and just drove straight here.
Did you have any problem parking? Because a lot of people do usually.
I got very lucky. There was a spot at the end of Imperial where I was able to just like, boop.
Uh-huh. Mm-hmm.
And I was able to get there and not be in the fire lane. So I was like, all right, cool. I won. And then, took out my Jack Daniels for you.
I appreciate that. Thank you very much. It'll be done by the morning.
Yeah, I'm sure. and and walked in, and it's been a great day overall.
I appreciate you because you've seen the growth of Later with Mo Kelly since the very beginning. It was not easy. And I tell everyone, it's not easy. Once you get an opportunity, people look at you to see what you're going to do with that opportunity. And you are always very supportive, and you have found a way to just get what we're trying to do. And I say we because it's not just me, it's Tawala, it's Mark, it's you. And they don't know that when I make a song reference or I make a reference to a movie, you just know to get it. You just find it, and it enhances everything that we do. And first I'm saying I appreciate what you do, and I'm thankful for what you do.
Yeah.
But we just have a similar sense of humor. And you're an old soul because we're not the same age, but you get most of the references. Where does that come from?
For the most part, I think it's just because growing up with my parents, I got two different sets of music, and I was able to absorb so many different eras. And that's what I listened to as a child. So when I got older, people would make mention of, and I think you even did this, like, oh, what do you know about Styx?
Right.
And it's like, yeah, it's something that I grew up with and I heard and I loved it. And I always recollected it. And so I just always kept it in the back of my mind. And that's always been, that's been part of my upbringing. So when I come to the show, I'm lucky that you know so much about music because I'm able to either make a reference or literally bring a reference of a song, and I know what to play, where to start it, stop it, because I know the song and I know what you're trying to make the joke of, or you're trying to make the reference to.
Some people may know something about you, and I know some things about you, but not everything about you.
Yeah.
Where did you grow up, and what are your memories of the 4th of July?
So I grew up here in LA, and I found out that I'm literally 10 minutes away from you, which is really cool. And my birthday, because it's so close to the 4th of July, I would have a close celebration with just my mom and dad and a couple of friends on the day of. And then the 4th, we would celebrate everything. So it would be, the fireworks and the whole shebang. The uncles would bring all the stuff, and that was basically celebrating my 4th of July. So it was, I loved growing up in LA and the 4th of July. And even now that I'm working, I don't mind it because I see the fireworks happening. And like you said, I'm sitting there eating my mac and cheese and my chicken, and I hear the boom, 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 all the fireworks going off.
Speaking of the fireworks, I have noticed, and we've talked about this on the air, about there's been increased surveillance as far as fireworks, illegal fireworks. We know that they were going to be using drones in various cities. They're clamping down on illegal fireworks. I can say that this year, and I don't know if you've had the same experience, that there have been fewer days of just this barrage of fireworks. Even today, it's much more muted.
I was going to say the exact same thing. I didn't know if you experienced a little bit less, but I know I did. And I was very surprised. And I was going to bring it up to your attention, but I wasn't sure if you were experiencing the same thing because, yeah, it's been super quiet for the most part. So I don't know if people are just waiting until the sun goes down and they're going to just a whole barrage,
right?
Or they're actually listening. But either way, it has been quieter. I will say that.
I do always hopeful, because, with the illegal fireworks, it can be very dangerous and you have the unintended consequences of, we may laugh and joke about it, but people often do get hurt annually because of these illegal fireworks.
Yeah.
I don't know if there is a causal relationship between the enforcement and the crackdown, or is it just a correlation where it just happens to be? But if it's safer for everyone, I am for that. But it was very noticeable to me. It'll be interesting to see it come 9:00. You'll be driving because you got to get back on the road.
Yeah.
But I do know at 9:00, we're going to walk up to our park where we have this panoramic 360 view. And I wonder if I'm going to see as many, those are my dogs. I wonder if we're going to see as many fireworks shows that we would customarily see, because a lot of them were illegal fireworks show. You would see the legal ones, but you'd also see the illegal ones 2 blocks over.
Even I was talking to, I forgot what we were talking about, but producer Kiki was talking about, I drove down the 110 and there was fireworks coming on the left and right. I'm like, yeah, that's the show, man. If you can't afford, or if you don't have the time to go to an actual fireworks show, drive down the 110 at 9 p.m. and you'll see an entire world
but
of
don't stop.
Fireworks.
Don't
pull over. Just keep driving. But it's a wonder to see. It's really interesting.
Well, Stephan, this is the first time that you've been in my home, but it's definitely not going to be the last time. And we have to both say to Mark, he missed out.
He sure did.
He missed out. He missed out on the food. He missed out on the fun. He missed all the family get together. And Mark Ronner, look, we have to have you here next year. Okay?
Next year for sure.
All right, sounds good. It's later with Mo
on
Kelly.
Tape.
Yeah, we got to look. He doesn't matter. He's not a man of his word. KFI AM 640. We're live everywhere. The iHeart Radio app. When we come back, I'll be joined by producer Kiki. Yes, producer Kiana of Gary.
I'm Christiana Manpour, and I've been on the front lines and interviewing world leaders for more than 30 years.
And I'm Jamie Rubin, a former advisor to both Presidents Clinton and Biden.
We were married for 20 years.
And divorced for 7.
Now we've joined forces on the X-Files to make sense of how we ended up with no world order. Listen to Christiana Manpour Presents The X-Files on the iHeart Radio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
I'm Rodney Williams.
And I'm Travis Holloway. Welcome to the Wealth Break.
Let's be honest, building wealth doesn't look the same for everyone. It's not just about saving, it's about investing. It's about navigating systems that weren't built for you, embracing your hustle, and relying on your community to create something bigger.
And that's exactly why we created the Wealth Break. We made something different, something more human. It's not just another financial podcast. It's a conversation about real life, real struggles, and real wins.
We're here to talk about the journey. You're hearing from people who've broken barriers, found creative ways to succeed, and learned to build wealth on their terms. Whether it's the first-time homeowner, a gig worker, or someone turning a side hustle into a 6-figure business, we're bringing you their stories.
And we're not stopping at success stories. We're breaking down the realities, like what it means to take risk, how to navigate failure, and why resilience matters. Because wealth isn't about money. It's about creating a life where you can thrive and help others to do the same.
So if you're ready for a podcast as much as about people as it is about money, you're in the right place.
Listen to the Wealth Break podcast on the iHeart Radio app.
World of Secrets, The Killing Call, a BBC World Service investigation into the murder of Punjabi singer and rapper Sidhu Moosewala.
The facts, they aren't out in the open. Why Sidhu Moosewala,
Uncovering a global criminal underworld that reaches far beyond India's borders.
There are so many rumors. No one wants to talk.
There might be repercussions.
World of Secrets, The Killing Call. Listen on the BBC app or wherever you get your podcasts.
And Shannon, that's next.
You're listening to Later with Mo Kelly on demand from KFI AM 640.
KFI AM 640. It's Later with Mo Kelly. We're live everywhere in the iHeartRadio app. And if you haven't checked us out, check us out on Instagram at Mr. Mo Kelly. We have an Instagram live going. MRMOKELLY. And I'm pleased to be joined on the show right now from Chateau by none other, producer Kiki. You know her as the executive producer of Gary and Shannon. Kiana, how are you this Independence Day?
I am doing wonderfully. Thank you for having me on. It's so good to be back.
Yes, this is your second time to Chateau. Last time you were engaged. Now you are married. Did you have to ask permission to come?
A little bit just because of our dog, but
Yes.
I was able to escape and now I am here. And I'm enjoying my time, and I'm sure my husband is very jealous.
Oh, goodness. You better hope he's not listening. Let me ask you this. Your life has gone through so many changes, and I mean that in a good way. You get married, you start working from part-time to full-time, and you are a full-on bona fide radio professional. A lot of people don't get to ever say that. What has it been like for you?
It's been a whirlwind experience, and I'm so grateful just to be in the position that I'm in. It's, a lot of hard work and, putting in my time, and I'm still doing that. I'm still trying to earn my keep, and I love every second of it. I love just everything that I do, and it's worthwhile. I enjoy coming to work. I enjoy working with each and every show still, even if I'm not, part-time working on each show. I still want to be a part of each show because I love each and every one of you guys.
You know how I began the show talking about how this was about friends. It was about family. It was about the memories of growing up in Independence Day. What memories come to mind for you?
For Independence Day itself, the one thing that I always remember is when my grandma and grandpa first moved to Fresno from Tehachapi, and it was the first and last year my grandpa was with us. And we were shooting off fireworks in the neighborhood, and there was one big giant firework that I was 100% certain it was one of those that went up in the sky like an illegal firework. But my family would never buy an illegal firework.
No, never.
But I was, for some reason that summer, I was terrified of fireworks. But I remember my grandpa just being there and like hanging out with me inside, and we had homemade ice cream, and it just was very comforting. That's something that I'll always remember and cherish.
Now, you being married, and I say marriage changes people because you're not thinking about just yourself. You're thinking about someone else with it, or you should be, I think, thinking about that other person in every decision that you make. How did the discussion go down where your husband would be taking care of the dog and you got to go out and party?
He volunteered. I don't know why, but I think it's because last year our dog, we got home from here. We weren't able to stay and go to the park. We got home and she was on our bed, like head between our headboard and just freaking out and scared. And so both of us, coming into today, we were like, should we both go? Should we, what do we do? I didn't want to miss this, but I understood if he wanted me to be there with the dog because she is attached to us, really attached. And so he was just like, no, you go, you enjoy your time. I'll stay with the dog. He wanted to come. It's just, our baby needed protecting from the fireworks and loud booms.
So tell us about the dessert contest. You got to see it. You got to taste it. You had to experience it once again. There was controversy. As far as who won, who should have won each year. It's always a point of discussion. What did you think of it?
Honestly, I loved every single dessert. I don't have a big sweet tooth, but I really like a churro. And I love a cheesecake, and that churro cheesecake was my favorite out of all of them just because I'm a sucker for cinnamon. But I loved every single dessert, and the ooey gooey. First bite, I did want to say ooh wee because it was good.
Now,
it was really good.
From what I've heard, this was the most talent in the competition in the sense of there were some heavyweights as far as the desserts. They were hard to choose between. I don't know. I didn't get to taste any of them. I'm just talking about the sampling of the people that I spoke to. They said the desserts were very difficult to choose between.
They were all like, not one was the same. Mm-hmm. So it like you had to differentiate. Do you want the chocolate of that rich cake? Or do you want like something light, like the churro cheesecake or a lemon bar? Like there were so many different varieties. It's almost hard to choose. So you have to go with like, what is your default choice of flavor and dessert type? And so I think that's where the challenge might have been.
And before I forget, I'm going to be in for Gary and Shannon on the 9th. Mm-hmm. I think that's Wednesday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What do you have planned for me? What am I going to be doing?
Well, we have our What You Watching Wednesday. So we get to do a whole half hour of just entertainment news, everything from movies to television.
I think I can handle that.
Yeah. It should be a lot of fun. That's one of our staples on a Wednesday.
Now, not a lot of people know what is involved in producing a Monday through Friday show. What have you learned or what has surprised you about making that jump from part-time to full-time?
I think it's learning how to balance everything that comes with a full-time position. You're booking guests. You're also prepping a show the night before. Since we're a midday show, I have to do a lot of the prep in the evening. So I can wake up and drive an hour and a half to work. But, and just social media. I'm basically a social media manager for the Gary and Shannon show. I'm also producing on the spot. So, we're more news heavy by the hour. And so while, they're doing the show, I'm still prepping the show as the show is happening. So it's a lot of moving factors with the Gary and Shannon show and being a full-time producer from where I'm at right now. So it's just learning how to balance everything and to make a great show like we do every day.
Something that you left out of that time commitment is the drive. I see you oftentimes staying as late as the beginning of my show, which is 2 shows removed from Gary and Shannon, because you have to fight the traffic. I mean, it is a commitment. The point is, it's a commitment, and it's probably more than most people understand. I know Tuwala and I've heard this all the time, that we only work 3 hours. If you ask most people, they say we work from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. And it couldn't be further from the truth. And I'm glad that you said it, because you remind people that not only is it a full-time job, you never really detach. You're always looking for stories. You're always mindful of what's going on in the news, because not only you need to know, but you're also making sure that your hosts are not made fools of on the air, because they look, and I talk about this with Tuwala all the time. If I get something wrong, they're not going to look at Tuwala. They're going to look at me. They're going to say, Mo didn't get it right, or how did you not know this, Mo? And that unfortunately falls on your shoulders as well, because if you give it to them, with the exception of what they already know, they're trusting you that whatever you're giving them is the latest information. 100%. So real quickly, what's your biggest mistake?
My biggest mistake? Oh my gosh. Oh, let me count the ways. Honestly, I think my biggest mistake is...
I was kidding. You really don't have to out yourself.
Great. Thank you. Gary Shannon, if you're listening, I make no mistakes.
There we go. I wasn't going to let you do that. Yes. So, producer Kiki, I have this thing. I don't like calling producers by their show nicknames. Like, I don't call Stefan Stefouche. I don't like calling you Kiki. Your producer Kiana, or just Kiana, he's Stefan. It's almost like proprietary. I don't feel comfortable doing it. So if I call you Kiana, will you understand why that is?
Yeah, 100%.
All right, just, because that Kiki stuff is not flying up in here.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
You're going to come back next year, hopefully?
Oh, 100%. I'm dragging my husband whether he likes it or not.
He came last year, so he knows.
He did. And he texted me earlier. He was just like, if there's any leftover dessert, can you please bring me some?
There's never any leftover dessert.
I'm going to scavenge for crumbs right now.
Look, and that's part of the reason why I never get to taste any of the desserts, because they're usually gone while Tuwala and I are prepping. Tuwala, did you get any dessert this year?
I did. But I didn't get everything. Like, I didn't get the churro cheesecake, which I'm like, I heard about it. I didn't get any of that. I didn't get any of the, I got like 2 or 3 things. I got 2 or 3 things, 2 or 3 things only, but everyone looked delicious. I had to taste last year's winner, and I had to taste my main nemesis, Mike Downs. I had to taste some ooey gooey, just because I told Kiana, or not Kiana, I had to told Carnisha that I would. But that's it. I didn't get everything.
Well, if you got something, you got more than me. I got nothing. Kiana, it's great to see you. Thank you for coming out to the house. Obviously, you are a part of the family. You will always be part of the family. And again, congratulations on your wedding. I know it wasn't recent, but still, it's a wonderful, beautiful thing.
No, thank you. Thank you for having me. I love you guys so much. And I'm so happy to be here.
We love you too. It's Later with Mo Kelly. KFI AM 640. Happy birthday, America. We're live everywhere on the iHeartRadio app.
KFI and KOST HD2, Los Angeles, Orange County. More stimulating talk.
I'm Rodney Williams.
And I'm Travis Holloway. Welcome to the Wealth Break Podcast, a real conversation about finance.
Let's be honest. Building wealth doesn't look the same for everyone.
I feel like sometimes being broke is a cycle and that we might have to revisit that.
And we're not stopping at success stories.
What happens when it doesn't go right? How do you cope with it?
Because wealth isn't just about money. It's about creating a life where you thrive and help others do the same.
Listen to the Wealth Break Podcast on the iHeartRadio app.
I'm Christiana Manpour, and I've been on the front lines and interviewing world leaders for more than 30 years.
And I'm Jamie Rubin, a former advisor to both Presidents Clinton and Biden.
We were married for 20 years.
And divorced for 7.
Now we've joined forces on the X-Files to make sense of how we ended up with no world order. Listen to Christiana Manpour Presents The X-Files on the iHeartRadio app, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen to podcasts.
World of Secrets, The Killing Call, a BBC World Service investigation into the murder of Punjabi singer and rapper Sidhu Moosewala.
The facts, they aren't out in the open. Why Sidhu Moosewala, you know?
Uncovering a global criminal underworld that reaches far beyond India's borders.
There are so many rumors. No one wants to talk.
There might be repercussions.
World of Secrets, The Killing Call. Listen on the BBC app or wherever you get your podcasts.